You know that feeling? You're maybe 10, 15 minutes into a chat with an AI.
Oh, yeah.
And it is brilliant. You're building something, and it's clicking. It remembers every single thing you told it.
You're in the flow state, it feels like it's reading your mind.
Exactly. And then, I don't know, message 20 hits.
Yeah.
And it's like a switch flips.
All of a sudden, it ignores your formatting, contradicts itself.
It hasn't gotten dumber. It just ran out of whiteboard space. And today, we're going to fix that.
Welcome to the deep dive.
We are looking at a guide by Max Ann called Mastering AI Context Windows, Memory Hacks for 2026.
And this is really the manual for dealing with what the author calls the memory wall. We're going to cover why models like ChatGPT 5.2 and Claude 4.5 seem to just, forget things.
Right.
We'll look at the hidden token limits of these 2026 models and a strategy called the Handoff Process to keep chat sharp for like 100+ turns.
So the goal here is to move from just chatting to becoming what the article calls a context orchestrator.
That's the idea.
Okay, so let's start with that core concept, the context window. The guide compares it to a finite whiteboard, which I find really helpful.
It's honestly the best analogy.
Yeah.
Just picture a physical whiteboard. It has a fixed size. It can't get any bigger.
Okay.
Every single word you type, every file you upload, every response the AI gives, it all takes up physical space on this board.
And even its own internal thinking, right?
Exactly. The hidden reasoning steps, all of it gets written down.
And once it's full, it doesn't just stop working.
No, it starts erasing. To make room for the new stuff you just typed, it has to wipe the oldest stuff off the board.
Which is why instruction drift happens.
It's not a bug. It's an automatic deletion of your initial rules just to fit the new data. The AI isn't being difficult. Your rules literally don't exist in its memory anymore.
So is this strictly based on word count, or is it more complex?
It's not words, it uses tokens.
Which are what, roughly 3/4 of a word?
Yeah, that's a good rule of thumb. It's a bit more complicated, but that's close enough for practical use.
Got it. Okay, let's talk about the big three models for 2026, because their whiteboards are apparently of very different sizes.
Wildly different. And they're for different jobs.
So first up, ChatGPT 5.2 Codex from OpenAI.
Right, so this one's the smallest memory of the majors. In the UI, you're limited to about 60,000 tokens.
Which is around 45,000 words.
Yeah, and it's built for speed. It's your sports car. Quick code, fast answers.
Not for analyzing a huge novel, then.
No, you'll hit that wall almost immediately.
Okay, then in the middle, we've got Claude Opus 4.5 from Anthropic.
This is the middle ground. It's got 200,000 tokens, about 150,000 words.
So it's better for deeper reasoning.
Much better. It's a bit slower, but it's great for deep analysis, writing. It can hold a thought for much longer.
And then there's the beast, Gemini 3 Pro from Google.
The free train. It has a 1 million token window.
Whoa.
That's about 750,000 words.
1 million tokens. Just imagine that. You could feed it a 2-hour video, 10 PDFs, and ask 50 questions without it even breaking a sweat.
That is Gemini 3 Pro. It's just a different scale.
So, wait, does having a bigger tank mean it drives better? Why do we need memory hacks if we can just use Gemini?
Surprisingly, no. Performance actually degrades as that giant window fills up.
So bigger isn't always better?
Not at all. There's a very specific performance curve.
Okay, tell me about it.
So from 0 to about 30% capacity, you get beautiful performance.
The honeymoon phase.
Right. 30 to 50% is kind of the peak zone. But here's the danger zone. Above 60% capacity, quality starts to slide.
60%.
And once you get to that 70 to 100% range, the results get really unpredictable. Hallucinations go way up.
It's like computer RAM. You can have a ton of it, but if you're running at 90% capacity, everything slows down and gets glitchy.
It's the perfect analogy. The AI is trying to juggle too much at once.
So the goal isn't just fitting the data, it's about active management.
Exactly. Unused memory actually creates better focus than an overloaded memory.
Unused memory is clarity. I like it.
It's the mantra for this whole process.
Okay, so if we're trying to stay out of that danger zone, we need to spot the warning signs. The guide lists 4 big red flags for memory loss.
Yeah, these are the signs that you need to stop immediately.
Number 1 is instructions disappear.
The classic. You ask for bullet points in message 1, and by message 20, you get a 600-word essay.
The rule just fell off the board.
It literally doesn't know you asked for bullets anymore.
Okay, number 2, contradictions.
Right. Message 5 said, let's use a conservative investment strategy. By message 20, it's saying, go all in on crypto.
It's not being creative. It just forgot the persona.
Yep.
Number 3, This one feels really dangerous. Facts get invented.
It's the most crucial warning, I think.
Yeah.
If the budget was $9,000 in message 2, the AI might just make up a number like 6,500 in message 30.
Where does it get that from?
Thin air. It knows a number should be there, but the original fact was erased. So it just hallucinates a plausible substitute.
That's terrifying for actual work. And number 4 is a specific tell for Claude, right?
Yeah, Claude kind of admits when it's struggling. If you see organizing thoughts or compacting conversation, that's Claude telling you its memory is full and it's trying to save itself.
So is there a way to see the fuel gauge before it crashes? Or are we just guessing?
You're not just guessing. There are tools like Google's AI Studio Playground that show you the exact token counts.
So you can watch the meter go up.
Exactly. It's worth getting familiar with those, even if you're not a developer.
Okay, let's talk tactics. The main one from the guide is called the handoff process.
This is the most effective fix for 2026. It takes a little discipline, but it works every time.
So what's the trigger? When do you do it?
When you hit about 60% capacity, for most chats, that's usually around 15 or 20 messages. You just stop.
Stop. Don't ask the next question. Then what?
Step 1.
Yep.
You ask for a very specific kind of summary. You ask 4 questions.
Okay.
1, what we covered. 2, decisions we made. 3, current to-do lists. And 4, the next immediate task.
You're basically packing up the essential information.
Exactly. Then, step 2, open a brand new chat. A clean whiteboard. 0% capacity.
And step 3, you just paste that summary in.
You paste it in with a little prompt, like, here's the context from our last session, let's continue.
Why is this better than just continuing the old chat, though?
Because it eliminates all the back and forth fluff that clogs the AI's reasoning.
So you're getting rid of the, can you tweak that, how about this kind of messages?
Yes, you get a clean whiteboard, but you keep the essential intelligence of the project. It's a fresh start without starting from scratch.
I want to talk about files next, because that's where I think a lot of token waste happens. But first, we'll take a quick break.
All right, we're back, diving into AI memory. We just covered the handoff process. Now, memory hygiene for file uploads. The guide says not all files cost the same amount of memory.
Not even close. People think an upload is an upload, but some files are insanely expensive in terms of tokens.
So what's cheap? What's in the green zone?
Plain text files, so .txt, CSVs, Markdown, just raw data with no formatting. Okay, pretty straightforward. What about the stuff we all use, like PDFs and Word docs?
That's the yellow zone. Moderate cost. They have all this hidden data headers, footers, formatting that the AI has to parse, so it costs a bit more.
And then it gets expensive, the orange zone.
This is where you find images and complex Excel files. A spreadsheet with charts and colors. The AI has to visually interpret all of that, and it just burns tokens.
So what's in the red zone? Very expensive.
Video and audio. A 5-minute video can cost more memory than a 50-page book because the AI has to transcribe the audio and analyze the visual frames over time.
Wow. So a practical tip would be, if I have a big spreadsheet, don't upload the whole thing.
Exactly. If you only need one tab, export that single tab as a CSV and upload that instead.
So we should just chop things up before we upload them.
Yes, you have to pre-process. Trim videos, extract text. Don't make the AI do that work.
That makes perfect sense. Now, the guide talks about building intuition because you can't be counting tokens all day.
Right. It's not practical. And every task is different. Coding costs more tokens than, say, writing a poem.
So how do you build that intuition?
It suggests keeping a simple log, just for a week.
A log. What do you track?
4 things. The task you were doing, the files you used, the message count when quality started to drop, and your rating of the final output.
That's it.
That's it. After 10 or so projects, you'll start to just feel it. You'll know, okay, this task is probably good for about 15 messages before I need to do a handoff.
You start to anticipate the cliff instead of falling off it.
You stop flying blind.
Okay, there's another tactic in here for when you really don't want to start a new chat. It's called in-thread summaries.
This is the light version of the handoff, a quick fix.
How does that work?
Every 5 to 10 messages, you just pause and say, stop. Summarize our current goals, decisions, and status.
But wait, wouldn't that summary just use up more space on the already full whiteboard?
It does, but remember, the oldest stuff gets erased first. By creating that summary now, you're putting the most important info at the bottom of the whiteboard, the freshest part of the memory.
I see. So you're forcing it to refocus on the important stuff and keeping it safe from the eraser for a little longer.
Exactly. It anchors the context.
So is this as good as the handoff?
No, it's a lighter alternative. Handoff is still the best for heavy-duty tasks.
Let's get to the mistakes to avoid. As I was reading this section, I felt very seen.
I think we're all guilty of these.
The first one is just one more message.
The classic trap. You're at 80% capacity, you know you should restart, but you think, I'll just ask one more quick question.
I do this constantly. I still wrestle with prompt drift myself. I always think I can squeeze in one last query.
It's the sunk cost fallacy. You
Yep.
feel invested. But that one question pushes you to 95%, and the answer you get is garbage and sends you down the wrong path.
You waste more time than if you'd just done the handoff.
Way more.
Okay, next mistake. Uploading everything at once.
The data dump? You think more context is better, so you upload 100 pages of background documents.
But you only need an answer from page 10.
And you've just filled your entire whiteboard with noise before you've even asked your first question. You paralyzed it.
And the last one is just ignoring the warning signs.
It's about discipline. When you see instructions start to fade, you have to pause. It's not going to get better on its own.
So what's the ultimate role shift here?
You stop being a user, and you start being a context manager. You're actively managing a scarce resource.
That's a great way to put it. It puts the control back in your court. Okay, let's wrap this up with the big ideas. For me, the big takeaway is your AI isn't broken. Its whiteboard is just full.
That's the whole thing in a nutshell. And success in 2026 isn't about one long conversation. It's about a series of short, focused sprints connected by these summarized handoffs.
Right. Keep your capacity under 60%. Be deliberate with your file uploads, and treat that memory like the scarce resource it is.
And remember, unused memory is clarity. A clean whiteboard is always the smartest AI.
Unused memory is clarity. That's a great line.
That's a good rule for life, too.
So here's a final thought to mull over. We've spent this whole deep dive talking about how to manage these memory limits. But what happens when the limits basically disappear? When we have 100 million token window?
Right, and we will.
Will we stop needing to curate and summarize? And if the AI can hold everything perfectly, does that mean we stop trying to hold it in our own heads?
Does the friction of context management actually force us to learn?
That's the question. If you don't have to pack the bags yourself, do you even know what you're carrying?
That's something to think about for 2027.
For now, next time you see ChatGPT, ignore a rule, don't get mad, check the tokens.
And go clear that whiteboard.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
See you in the next sprint.